Okay, I'm hoping that we are finally on live. I want to open us for questions. Make sure everybody's here. All right. Oh, terrific. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so we got one watching. It's starting. We're getting there. You make sure that we get some more coming on. Please welcome yourself to the podcast, to the YouTube cast. As we slowly build up some people logging in. I know it's just turned up. All right. Let me begin by welcoming all of you who are attending. Want to make sure that we have an opportunity to discuss really something that came out today that's very, very troubling to us as practitioners in this area of the law. Today, Senate Bill 3565, was introduced. It was introduced by Senator Brown, a Democrat out of Ohio, and it was a bill to amend, and I'm reading some of the notes on this, it was a bill to amend the Federal Fair Debt Collection Practices Act to expand consumer protection for consumers and small businesses during a major disaster or emergency. Obviously, this pandemic would be included in such protection. Supporters of the bill include Senator Warren, Senator Cory Booker, and the bill, what it would effectively do, and this is, when you understand this a little bit better and go through and explain this, you'll understand that this would be a disaster for homeowner associations and condominium associations. Any association whatsoever here in Florida that depends on the ability to collect assessments from those owners who live in the communities and for whatever reason it may be, whether associated with the pandemic or not, are not paying you. So basically what the bill would cover is that beginning one day after the president declares a major disaster until 120 days after the end of the disaster period, 120 days, you could not go ahead and start with collection processes against any owner. So, without prior consent, it would only allow debt collectors to communicate with consumers in writing during a major disaster or emergency. The communication must also be for informal firms such as myself who engage in the collection of debt, and this is considered a debt, the consumer debt, which is the maintenance obligations, whether regular or special assessment. And what it would effectively do is limit our ability for 120 days and the associations from going after any owner who's not paying. Any legal action taken against an owner during this period of time would be considered a violation of the Federal Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and sanctionable in terms of fines and damages and so forth. It's mind-boggling because at this point there's no exception. We'll get to that in a moment. What you could do is you could write for informational purposes only to an owner and basically say, listen, owner, we would like you to pay this. This is something that the association needs in order to pay its upkeep, its bills, its management, its insurance, all those obligations that it has. And without this, we can't afford to make our budget and pay our bills. However, if the owner says, listen, go fly a kite, I don't have money, I'm not paying it right now, and anyways, under this bill, the president's bill, you can't, or this would be the Senate, Congress, you can't enforce this against me, and I have a 120-day grace period to do whatever I want. It is unfathomable. The bill requires that a debt collector covered under FDCPA, the Federal Debt Collection Practices Act, again, a firm such as myself, an association, cannot charge a fee for non-payment, sue or threaten to sue for non-payment, continue collection litigation that was initiated prior to the disaster. So it's basically a pause. Submit or cause to submit a confession of judgment in any court. So if an owner says, listen, I'll take a judgment, take it, come after me, I don't know that you can collect, but I don't want to keep fighting this, can't do that. Enforce security interest through repossession, limited use, or foreclosure. Obviously, our main tools that we use to go after owners. Take or threaten to take any action to enforce collection. Garnish wages or seize assets such as levying funds from a bank account. Disconnect or terminate utility services. So I know many associations try to use cable TV as a means to enforce this. I believe that cable TV would be considered a utility, some type of utility service, and it would be prohibited. Add interest or fees to past due balances. So effectively what you would have is a 120-day period of no interest, late charges, collection efforts, or collections themselves, that when you come on the outside of this, 20 days, 120 days, the owner would then have the obligation to pay. It's important to note that other senators have also congressmen have also and women have also introduced similar bills. The problem with this bill is that it would be the death of most associations. Associations that don't have high reserves, associations that don't have funds stocked up to pay for the landscaping, pay for the insurance, pay for any maintenance upkeep, pay for the management company, would not be able to go ahead and collect it. So what have we been doing? Well, one of the things we've done is we've suggested that that you write to your congressmen, congresswomen, congresspersons, and you ensure that your voice is heard, that of your managers, the homeowners, board members, to say, look, this can't be, there has to be an exception. There is, by the way, in the bill, a charity exception. I'm not so sure yet how it works and how we're going to go ahead and apply it, but we would ask for the same exception to be provided for associations that are going to ahead and collecting on their debt. Otherwise, I don't see a way in which associations can go ahead and sustain themselves during this period of time. It simply wouldn't work. So we are really asking you to go ahead and go to your various congressmen, congresswomen, senators, and object to this. Ask for a carve-out for associations. Let me ask, if there are any questions about this, there is a means in which to write me questions and chat on this issue. I don't want to. I do have the actual bill itself, but I don't want to go and read through it. At this point, these are things that are being considered. It's in its early stages. The problem is that we all know that when things like this happen, and there are pressures, and these congressmen, congresswomen want to be reelected, or worried about whether or not they are deemed by the public, by their constituents, to have done enough, that these things go ahead and quickly morph into bills that simply don't think out the consequences, don't look at what can or can't happen as a result of that. Financially, as I said before, and I'll end on this, I don't see any questions on this, so I hope it's very clear what's going on. Financially, this would be, I think, a major hit on behalf of associations, and we look at this as something that we really need to stop and look to see of a carve out, some type of special carve out. Okay, next. there are a number of issues with regards to residents, tenants, guests who are testing positive, who are known to have communicated or been with somebody. Oh, okay. So the bill number, I've been asked about the bill number. It's Senate Bill number 3565. And let me see here. And I can make a copy of it available online for you to all look at the initial draft. Obviously, these bills encompass many different aspects and many different issues that are tangential to what we're concerned about, but I can make the entire bill ready for you. So, the next things a lot of my clients are facing are situations where they have a resident, a tenant, people who've been out of town, who've come into town, either have tested positive, believe that they may have become in contact with somebody who has tested positive, and are looking for guidance on what you can do. I've said in a prior podcast that the most important thing is that you do not, at any point in time, become confrontational with that person. Okay? You don't want to have issues arising with any type of assault or battery charges against any board members. One of the things I discussed in a prior podcast is the fact that most of your insurance policies have exclusions for these types of circumstances of a pandemic. So there's a question on whether or not a board member would be covered. On the other hand, as I have tried to assure you, those of you looking at these, most of your documents have provisions that say that the association shall indemnify, cover a board member for his or her actions in taking and administrating the community. I believe that coupled with those powers, the powers already inherent in your documents, and the powers that we've discussed in earlier podcasts under Chapter 718 and Chapter 720 for emergency relief, give you certain authority. So what do? Well, the first thing is you kindly ask and memorialize in writing, either through an email or hand delivery or certified mail, that you want that person to self-quarantine themselves, self-shelter themselves, whatever you want to call it, that they must do so. The other thing you need to do is, if they don't do that, if they are a tenant or a guest, if you have the ability to lock them out of the building, out of the association, you do so. And you make it to a point where, especially if they're a guest, it's known to the owner, or whether that owner is in-house or it's a tenant who's renting at the time, and it's their guest, that this person right now, until they self-shelter, cannot reside on association's property. It's a health, welfare, and safety issue. Really important and very easy to substantiate because, of course, what's going on with this virus. So question really becomes, what if they don't do it? What if I don't have an opportunity or a method or means to exclude somebody from being here? So you could do one of two things. If the association has the budget and the ability, you can hire some type of private security guard system to come and enforce that. And they'll do one level above you. First of all, it won't be you confronting it, it will be them. And second of all, depending on the level of guard or security service that you provide or you retain, they have different levels in which they're comfortable, showing certain force without going to that next step. If that doesn't work, or if you don't have the means for that, then obviously the police is the next best thing. You need to call the police and ask them to have this person excluded from the association's property, and you have to provide those reasonings and have some type of proof or some type of basis to do so. Let's say you have an owner or a tenant who has come in contact or actually has the virus and is refusing to self-shelter, to self-quarantine themselves in their unit, and insists on going outside. The first thing is, immediately you need to tell them this is unacceptable, and this will be subject to not only litigation, but fines and so forth. Okay. If they're willing to do that, most likely they're not going to take heed of that. And of course, when you do provide that information has to be provided not only verbally but also in writing. Everything has to be provided in writing. I'd even go to the step of taking your iPhone or Android phone and videotaping any type of quote confrontation or addressing that person. The next step is, of course, to go ahead and if you want to get to that next level, to retain your attorney, whether it's myself or some other attorney that represents your association, to write a letter and to basically tell them if they don't do this immediately, that the next step is seeking an emergency injunction. Now, for a condominium, there's no requirement, in my opinion, to go to the Division of Land Sales, since this constitutes an emergency and it's about the use of one's unit outside of your documents, right? This is a health, welfare, and safety common nuisance issue, most likely not in your documents, so you don't have to go to the division on that. Even if you did, the division in these times, I don't believe would require you to do what normally they do, which is file first with the division, and then after filing with the division, asking the division for leave to go to a circuit court. On the other hand, with an HOA, your obligations are to file a mandatory mediation notice. And that mediation notice can take up to 20 days for them to respond, and then another, I believe it's 90 days off the top of my head in which to agree to a mediator. There is an exception under the statute. That exception is an emergency situation. I believe this constitutes an emergency situation. So the next step, of course, is whether or not your court system in your county is open. For instance, right now in Miami-Dade County, the courts are closed. And you can do filings, but there's very little hearings being held because of what happened with a worker employee of the court system testing positive. Broward and Palm Beach are open, either court call or to some judges do allow attorneys to still come in. There are no jury trials, there's nothing else. I believe a judge would look at this as an emergency basis and more likely than not enter an order. So the good news is, these types of orders, unless the judge feels differently, can be entered by a judge without a hearing, just based on the pleadings. You have to get service on the other person. Obviously, you'd have to tell the process server, and they'll drop it in such a way that they're safe and not expose themselves. But we would have to get it in such a way where we can get some type of jurisdiction over the person. And then there's more likely than not, I believe, a judge would enter an order on this, because the judge can do that on an emergency basis and temporarily enforce it. That would then go to the police or whatever law enforcement that you have. Obviously, it's going to be a police department, sheriff's department, if you will, and they would enforce the judge's order. There is no other means that I can guide you at this point in time other than going through those steps. And of course, you need to go through those steps on a fairly quick basis to avoid that person or persons infecting the rest of your community. Let me know if anybody has any questions about that, what to do, how to do. I'm happy to address those as well. One thing we would need to look at is what your documents do provide. I have no problem with the association shutting off gate access, making that person go through security, making that person dress themselves in a way that makes it more difficult to access your community. I know one association in particular is basically locking their doors and only allowing owners with their card keys to access the building. I have no problems with that. You are not limiting an owner's right, and you are restricting those outside of ownership from coming into your building when there's basically a shelter order in effect throughout the counties. Okay. Last but not least, what I want to address tonight is contracts, current contracts that you may have, and their enforceability and what you can or can't do or should not do. So first and foremost, if you have ongoing construction project and you have not been shut down by the state, by the county, by the city, by the locality, then by all means, if they're willing to continue working and you're comfortable, for instance, it's a re-roofing job, it's something outside of the building that has minimal exposure from those outside workers to your members, guests, and invitees, I see no problem continuing with those projects. In fact, I think those projects must continue because unless you have what's called a force majeure, and I'm going to give you the spelling of that in case you want to look it up. It's FORCE, second word is MAJEURE. It's a French term, and it basically means it's what's called a common law clause in contract that essentially means it frees both parties from liability or obligation when an extraordinary event or circumstance beyond the control of either party, such as a war, strike, riot, crime, plague, prevents one or both parties from fulfilling their obligation under the contract. Now, you think to yourself immediately, look, there's a plague going on right now, or a pandemic, not plague, pardon me. There's a pandemic going on right now, we've got to stop all work, all commerce. While, for the most part, that is occurring right now, it doesn't have to be a complete stoppage. I believe that work being performed outside of the building, where there's minimal contact with the owners, guests, and invitees, should proceed, and there's really no justification in stopping that. If the contractor is telling you that he or she doesn't have workers, employees that can come and do that, that's a different issue. I completely understand that. And if they don't have people are sick, or people are scared to go out, whatever that may be, it would really lay more on their side of being able to stop the performance under these contracts. With regards to individual owners' actions, you really have two situations. One is a single-family incident where the owner is having a contractor come to their property solely to do work at their property, not affecting anyone else. Obviously, going through guard gates, you can keep your windows up, they can show ID. There's standards that you can adopt that are a little different than normal ones in IDing people to come in that are satisfactory. Obviously, you get confirmation from the owners and so forth that, ABC constructors, contractors are coming through. On the other hand, condominiums, depending on how they're set up, if they're going through a lobby, if you can access it individually through open catwalks, the latter, I would believe, I'm going to answer your question in just a moment. The latter, I believe, with the catwalk in an open area, would allow people an opportunity to go in and service just those units. I don't think you should stop that type of work, especially if you're continuing your work at the association. However, when you're talking about enclosed facilities, you're talking about elevators, you're talking about methodologies of getting in, ingress and egress into and out of a person's unit, that contractor and his or her workers have to pass through common areas that other members are going through that are enclosed and that can breed, unfortunately, the virus, then I think you should limit those and frankly eliminate them. So now you have people going through elevators, walking through hallways, potentially touching guardrails in the hallways, touching the walls, touching the elevator buttons, where you don't have management or maintenance services following them and cleaning after them. That does pose a health, welfare, and safety issue, and something that I highly recommend the association shut down. Again, under the force majeure provisions of even those contracts with the owners, the association would have the right to do so and to enforce it upon the owner. We're talking about a major pandemic here that is very quick to go from person to person, and these are steps that you must take. So every situation is an individual situation. You must look at it that way, but you also need to use some common sense on how you apply it. Work being done inside the building, units in particular, more like hallways and corridors. Right. So I think, again, if you are working in these enclosed facilities, enclosed corridors, enclosed buildings, where workers are coughing, sneezing, and you've got recycled air that goes through the receptacles of the air conditioning system, since these are enclosed, not open catwalks, you are exposing owners, guests, and invitees to potential spread of the virus. It's simply not worth it, and you need to put a stop to this. Again, they're anticipating the stop to be, I don't think it's going to be at the end of the month. I think it's going to be more likely into April, potentially the end of April. But I think if everybody does their job to shelter and to socially distance themselves and not to expose facilities such as closed-in condominium buildings, not the older-style open catwalk ones, then we can all do our part to ensure or to help ensure the nominal spread of the virus and hopefully the control of it. There are other issues that I want to go over. I'm going to save those for another podcast. We're going on now almost a half hour. I don't want to make them that long. It becomes boring listening to me, and especially looking at me. But I do really appreciate all of you that have attended tonight. I welcome follow-up emails, phone calls. If you have certain circumstances that affect your association, then please let's address it. I know one of my clients is having some issues where they're a sub-association and the master association is trying to impose restrictions on contractors coming to the sub-associations. My client and I discussed this and went through some of this already. There has to be a basis for exercising the health, welfare, and safety, for exercising the provisions, the emergency provisions under 718 or 720. Simply saying there's a pandemic, we don't want people coming in, is not sufficient. Your sub-association has to have a certain control over what is being serviced to your community. You have deadlines, you have contracts, and you have the health, welfare, and safety of your own members to deal with potentially the projects that are ongoing. So simply shutting one down where you're afraid, or a master association is afraid that the workers are going to spread the virus in the community, while then, on the other hand, stopping a project that protects the interior of people's units, that can potentially, without completing it, create other health hazards, whether from water intrusion, mold, or so forth. It's not a balancing act. You got to look at both issues, and you got to make sure that you're not stopping one to allow another to occur. So I leave you with that, even though I promise not to continue going over. There's so much that goes on with this. I'm dealing with this all day long, trying to answer the questions as quickly as I can and as best as I can. Again, as always, I wish all of you only good health. Please follow the CDC guidelines. No more than 10 people. You do not have to have your association meetings right now. You can do it all on phone, Skype, Zoom, Teams. They all offer free programs to do this. Please exercise social distancing. We still are seeing clients in our office. Happy to do so. We ask that you come in only one at a time. We try to limit the number of people. And of course, we practice social distancing like everybody else. Thank you all. Have a great night, and I look forward to future podcasts. All the best to you. God bless.